Hey guys, welcome back to an episode of Off the Shelf. I'm Russ Tom HD, and this week we found Off the Shelf was... The Blue Jean Monster, released in 1991. It is a Hong Kong slight horror comedy action film. Now, I went into this film not really knowing a lot about it. I had never even heard of it before now, before this very day. And I will say, I do think it's a bit of a mixed bag for me. While I do think it was enjoyable and it was fun, I do think that I think the film was an uneven mix of action and comedy. I feel like the movie leans more towards comedy, which the comedy just didn't really land for me. I didn't really laugh at any of the jokes that they made. I feel like I laughed more at the ridiculousness of the action scenes, and that's what I wanted more of. Right, was the stupid dumb action scenes that they had. I feel like that I would have gotten more enjoyment if they included, because there wasn't that many action scenes really in this movie. It was a pretty story-focused movie, being a comedy and all that. And while I did enjoy the stupid shit that was there, I also feel like it could have used, as I said, more action. As it stands, I really think, while this film was enjoyable, I just couldn't, I don't think it kicked into next gear for me. It didn't really get to next level. And while I like Hong Kong movies, as you guys know, I have a whole fucking series based on Hong Kong action movies and kung fu movies. But I really think that this film, obviously it's not a Temple of Kung Fu, because there was no martial arts in it. There was none of that. It was a pretty straightforward action film. I think the plot is interesting. So essentially this cop, he goes solo on these criminals who are doing a bank robbery, and he chases them, and then they get into a scuffle and they kill him. And then there's a cat who has powers, I guess, and the cat lands on him, and the cat with its radioactive rays causes him to get a power. And then, it's raining, so then a lightning bolt hit, because he got buried by, metal and steel. So they're a lightning bolt hits the metal pile. And then he turns into, this kind of undead superhero, I guess. But he needs electricity to stay alive, I guess. And it's an interesting premise, but I really think they could have done more with it. The idea of this kind of Frankenstein's monster idea, where he's a superhero killing bad guys. I kind of wished that they focused on the bad guys more, because there was a point in the movie where for it felt like 20 minutes where they just completely forgot about the bad guys. They just completely forgot about them. They're like, no, we're gonna do this stupid fucking birthday party comedy shit. And I'm like, okay, what is this? I want to see action. I don't. This is not funny, right? Because honestly, this movie was not that funny in the comedy joke regard. It was not that funny, to me at least. I know comedy is subjective, but yeah, I think the funny bits come from the stupid gore and the stupid the action. But there's not much of that in this movie, so I just kind of had to sit through the comedy. But yeah, I really liked the premise. I thought the premise was fun. And overall, I thought that, as I said, the action was fun. The action's the main reason to watch this movie, I think. And while, as I've kind of shitting on the comedy, I do think there is some jokes here and there that can land. I think it's mainly maybe it's visual comedy most of the time that can land. Because it's pretty easy to get that right, I feel like. And overall, I did enjoy this movie. It sounds like I hate it. I don't. I just have a bit of critiques with it. It wasn't the best thing I've ever seen, but it wasn't the worst. As I said, it was a fun time. right? It was enjoyable and it was fun. It definitely didn't slog. The film was only like 90 minutes, so It definitely didn't feel like it overstayed its welcome. I really think that it was a perfect length. I do think the ending made me laugh because of how abrupt it was. Because there's this big bad evil criminal guy, that's the guy that kills him at the beginning of the movie, and so essentially one of the main characters stole like the duffel bag of money that they got from like this dinky little bank, and like this small bank. They got like a few rolls of money in like this big duffel bag. And she stole it, and basically the whole movie these guys are trying to get that money that she stole. And at the end of the movie, it's like a big standoff between the criminals and the main characters, and they kill all of them. But the way they kill the main bad guy is like, so, as I told you, he needs electricity, so he like sticks his hand into, it was like a electricity, like a, I forgot what they were called, it was like a, like, like, you know when you go into a building and there's like this box, like an electrical box, and you open it and there's like, oh yeah, an electrical box, that's what it's called. I accidentally said it. But an electrical box, he sticks his hand in, and then he fucking Emperor Palpatine, like, just shocks him with electricity. And he shoots off and he explodes for no reason. That was fun. And then he just dies, because I guess he used up all of his energy. And then they're like, oh, they're sad, he's dead. And then they're like, oh, the afterlife could use another hero, and then it ends. Then it's just like a weird painting of him in like a weird outfit. And I think it's really fun. It just made me laugh because of how abrupt it was. No falling action. None of that. Just immediately end of the movie after the climax. It's over. I mean, I know like movies like this usually don't have a falling action, which I think is just kind of funny. A lot of I think it's just a trend I've noticed in a lot of like kung fu movies and even Hong Kong action movies to begin with. A lot of them don't have falling actions. As soon as the bad guy dies, like 5 minutes later, the movie's over. I think that's just kind of funny. But, yeah. I did enjoy this film. Although I do have my criticisms, I do think overall it was a jolly good time. It was a jolly good show. But, I really think, would I recommend it? Now, I think it's like 50-50. If you're a fan of Hong Kong comedies, Hong Kong action, you could definitely get a kick out of it. Now, if you're not really familiar with like Hong Kong action, Hong Kong comedies, if you haven't really like gotten into that scene, I don't think this is a great place to start, because it's definitely got like some tropes in there. It's got some, like some quirks that these kind of movies have. I think, even though I can't really name any, I feel like maybe look it up. I think there's much better places to start. But this one, I think, if you've already engrossed yourself in Hong Kong cinema, I feel like this, if you haven't seen it, I feel like you could get a good time out of it. You could get some enjoyment out of it. So I would recommend it. And with that being said, I think I'd rate this film a 6.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I liked it, and I would recommend it if you like Hong Kong cinema, and, I think it's something to say. I think it's some peace. So, guys, I hope you liked this video. Share, friends, subscribe, so notifications on. Comment below once you liked it. And I'm Remember HD off to stop a bank robbery. I don't know how to get electrocuted. I've never been electrocuted before. I got like static shocks. Sometimes when you get your socks and you're like on the carpet, and then you try to touch the doorknob and it goes, and you're like, ow. That's happened to me before. When you go down a slide and you get a bunch of static shocks on your shirt and shit, like after you've walked in the grass. I've gotten that, but I've never been full-blown electrocuted, because I would be dead. I've never been struck by lightning either, because I would also probably be dead or crippled, and, I wouldn't look the same, Hey guys, I don't look like I was electrocuted or struck by lightning, do I? Maybe the hair, a little bit.